Ben 10 has to be one of the more, I think, best utilized superheroes in media, in all honesty. And in my honest opinion, he had a lot of potential to do more here. But today we're gonna power scale him. But no. We're not gonna power scale his natural self. We're gonna power scale a much more fan made version of him. We're gonna power scale the Ben 10 from 5 years later. Alright? So, what is Ben 10 5 years later? Ben 10 5 years later is a crossover between Ben and Danny Phantom. However, this Ben is a bit different. He's been training in the Null Void for 5 years to master each and every alien's abilities. So, for example, let's start with Clockwork, right? Clockwork is obviously a Chrono Sapien, and as we saw in the series, he's done some legendary feats such as time manipulation, being able to stop time, so on and so forth. And yes, I'm using the 5 years later wiki page here because it's actually pretty accurate. So, he has the full control of time manipulation, even going as far as being able to create weapons capable of blasting time itself against his opponent, Divinity, who we'll get into later. Now, with this being said here, Clockwork, a mastered version of Clockwork, is absolutely dangerous for any opponent here. Not only has Clockwork actually demonstrated that he is able to reach across the entire multiverse and reverse multiversal destruction with the Chrono Sapien Time Bomb feat, by the way, and the Chrono Sapien Time Bomb was so powerful that it was just massively above an Alien X and Atomix hybrid who would scale below Maltruan as well. So just imagine a Clockwork that should be significantly above most versions of the Celestial Sapien Alien X, and you have a character that can not only do multiversal plus damage, but I would say Clockwork from 5 years later is actually in the Hyperverse department. Another alien I like to give credit to is Lodestar. Now, Lodestar is Ben's only magnetic manipulating alien. And in this one, he actually does something impressive. He's able to rip apart a machine from the Invader Zim universe that was able to absorb the power and destroy a dwarf star. So this means some of Ben's mid-tier aliens actually graduate to higher tiers, because Lodestar is you're normally I guess you could say, restricted alien, with him having some building level plus level feats. But Lodestar would actually be in the planetary to star range of departments, being able to destroy a vice that consistently considered a, well, dwarf star level, putting him at least at large star level. Now, let's talk about Ben's other aliens, right? So, Ben's other aliens, he pretty much has every alien he pretty much scanned, it was from the time of 5 years later, and he got these from basically traveling across the universe with Kevin and Gwen to different planets. But let's talk about his skill here. Ben's mastery over his aliens are absolutely ferocious, okay? He's able to manipulate the flames of swamp fire to the point where he can pretty much just bend them. It's absolutely ridiculous here. He can create spikes with I said swamp thing, didn't I? Swamp fire. All right, he's able to bend and manipulate swamp fire's body. And with Ghost Freak, he's able to prevent Danny from going intangible, which shows Ben is actually using the Ectonorite's biology to its advantage, because Ghost Freak is a multi-layered ghost, or at least a multi-layered alien ghost. Then you have him actually using the telekinesis that Zscair used to use, or at least uses. So him being able to use the telekinesis shows that he's actually unlocked Ghost Freak's abilities. We also have him here taking the, ghostly wail from Danny here, which is absolutely impressive as he's not phased by it. Then you have Ben actually changing into Echo Echo. Now, look at the changing speed and how Ben's kind of just doing it, willy-nilly, and how he's doing it very fast-paced as well. This may not show he has master control, but I think he actually gets it further in the book, and I'll show you why. I'll show you why in a little bit when we get to the Divinity scaling. Then you have the sheer fact that Echo Echo's actually being able to shred some of the rock-like structures of the No Void with a sonic scream. Again, showing that Ben has really come a long way, considering that Echo Echo's, sonic attacks weren't really able to affect more than, I think, a building or maybe like a city block here. And now he's demonstrating, island levels of attack potency.
Again, Ben's changing speed is a lot faster. This is important because now that he's mastered the Omnitrix and mastered multiple aliens, he's actually able to use them in combination with one another, and actually able to use them in combination with Danny as well. You see, Ben's changing speed has always been kind of I guess you say kind of a mishap, as he's able to change from alien to alien, and sometimes in some continuities, or at least in some Ben 10 continuities, he's able to overload the Omnitrix here. But as we can see here, he changed from four arms, then transforms into I think it was Slampede or Stampede, I don't really know. Nope, wait, hold on. Yep, Slampede, who's able to build up kinetic energy into its horn on its head and then unleash it when it hits an object. You then have Ultraviolet, another mid-tier alien I would say is in the same range as characters like Lodestar, Swamp Fire, and Heat Blast, which would be the planet to star margin, being able to use his Ultra Drill to actually crack open I guess you could say a dead planet here, or crack open the moon, I believe this is. And Vlad Masters was really just unfazed by this at all. So this shows that Vlad at his base has planetary levels of durability. You then have Ben using things like Slatter's biology, or at least his biology, or at least his abilities to break down based off its biology, to turn to gas and go against a fused Ben 10. You then have Sopri, who's able to use, Bubbles, and Kevin actually being able to absorb and, use this actually impressive here. So where we're really at is that we can now scale the villain he scales to, or at least somewhat scales to, and this would be Divinity. Now, Divinity is a much more overpowered version of Eon, to the point where he can not only transcend time, but actually lock it. Yeah, he's actually able to lock it, and he can feel the entire Ben 10 multiverse. He can feel all the realities. And if you guys don't know, there are many alternate realities of Ben. Not just the ones we've seen, but there's more. There's a version probably where Ben, gets the Omnitrix, but it doesn't work. There's a version where Grandpa Max has it, or obviously the universe where Gwen has it, or there's other people that find the Omnitrix, which I think would have been a very good concept to go. There's also the fact that Divinity was able to kill gods, these like omniversal, or these godlike entities that were capable of, like, I guess, destroying universes. Then you have Ben's other useful aliens like Void. Now, Void is a 50-foot monster that actually bends antimatter. And he was able to do this to Big Ben, who was one of the stronger alternate versions of Ben 10, even stronger than Planet Buster, which I'll get into in a little bit here. But he's able to manipulate antimatter, and then you have him just, turning into Full Stop and using it. Full Stop is another extremely powerful alien. I would say, depending on how you look at it, he's probably in the top tier, or at least the top few, according to Kuro, or at least the Ink Tank. You then have Poltar here, who's basically a teleporting Ninja Turtle. See, Poltar's abilities is that he bends this transdimensional energy to where he can pretty much open portals and even be a far power characters as powerful as Divinity, even being able to, get out of multiple teleportation scenarios from Eon, where he was like trapped and stuff. He basically he bends space and time in order to teleport. Then you got Mankai, which is basically the Super Saiyan, except probably a much more traditional Super Saiyan. According to Kuro here, he's actually stronger than Atomix, Waybig, Sonorith, and his super form is greater than his base form, and his base form is greater than those aliens I just named. We'll get into Sonorith in a little bit, all right? So, like I said earlier, with Divinity being able to not only pretty much transcend time itself, but lock it, putting it at a outer-versal state, by the way, Mankai was actually able to match a holding back Divinity. Yes, I'm going to say holding back because Divinity gets a lot stronger, or at least stops playing around when the story progresses here. And we actually do see that, in this panel right here. Then you have, characters like Atomix, who was able to save pretty much the planet itself from an alternate version of Ben known as the Planet Buster. Now, you might say, well, didn't you say Atomix is like star level in your Green Lantern versus Ben 10 debunk video? Yes, and I still stand by that. I do think Atomix is star, probably solar system level. Now, because again, 5 years of training, you could do a lot with an alien's power level. So 5 years of training, I would definitely say it's possible he could reach solar system level. But considering Atomix is weaker than Way Big, I would probably say Way Big might be a galaxy buster, possibly higher. And considering he can manipulate cosmic storms, it's very possible Ben has also gone to master that ability as well. Plus, he did pretty well against Divinity, despite the fact the dude got punched through the planet. Like, Jesus Christ, how do you punch somebody who's just... Nah, we're not gonna go into that. But like I said earlier, it's really questionable whether he scales to a full power divinity with these other aliens. Because as we see here, Ben is actually changing from multiple aliens. As you guys saw, Clockwork got bullied, Atomics is getting bullied, and then there's a speed scaling with Buck Wild, and then he has to turn into full stop, despite the fact, you know, Eons is holding back here. And full stop was able to stalemate a powered up version of an awakening version of Vlad Masters. Now, this will put Vlad Masters as like definitely multiple levels higher, probably even, you know, tapping at the universal gateway, because he was able to fight a Danny that was capable of, what was it? Oh, shattering reality in this comic run with just a scream. Now, onto the Buck Wild scaling, he's actually much faster, if not at the same speeds as Danny and Future Fenton. And according to Kuro, Dash the Inkchang, he actually does all these things in a blink of an eye. So by the time you blink, which actually has been calculated, I think, at milliseconds, Buck Wild has pretty much done his thing here. Now, would I say he's faster than, you know, beings like Accelerate and stuff? No, I wouldn't quite say that. But again, the speed scaling is already there. You then have Sonarith, which is actually Ben's magical alien, which is, in my opinion, the first. Or maybe a second if you count Terraspin being immune to mana, which translates to magic in the verse. It really depends on how you look at it. Because at one hand, it looks like magic, and the other hand, it's just like, nah, wouldn't really consider it magic. But needless to say here, yeah, Divinity was just ragdolling all these aliens here. And here's the thing, it got so bad that Ben actually had to use Alien X to stop this attack from destroying the from wiping out everything. The entire Ben 10 multiverse was on the line, and Ben actually got pushed into a corner with every alien that he used against him, his strongest aliens, by the way, that he had to use Alien X. So that's pretty much it here. Now, where would I scale this Ben 10? Definitely stronger than his other versions, obviously. But if I had to scale him, definitely give him the Outerversal Pass. I would definitely say that. 5 years of training to master all your aliens' abilities and powers, including the new ones, by the way. So these ones would already be mastered. And the sheer fact that he's able to fight against a holding back Divinity who still managed to lock time itself. Like, this dude put a literal lock on time. Was like, yeah, we just gonna lock that up and keep it. Yeah, I definitely say this Ben 10 is definitely one, if not the... Matter of fact, no. He is the strongest version of Ben 10 to exist. So, anyway, that's going to be all for today, guys. Ink Tank gets all the credit. Curry the artist. You know, he gets all the credit for this. Because, again, this is his comic, and I'm just scaling it because, to me, this is fun. But anyway, let me know what you guys think down below. Please comment, like, and subscribe, and share it to friends. This is Legendary Grimlock, and I hope you guys have a blessed day. Peace.